Before coming here, when I was watching the news, and again, I can now confirm that it was a lot of propaganda, a lot of exaggerated facts.
How did you do this? How you came here?
I booked I made contacts from emails, like through Google searches. First with the Ukrainian embassy to join the Foreign Legion, and then I Googled a humanitarian group that got me into contact with somebody from Lithuania, and that person got me into contact with somebody from Poland. Then I made my flight from America, Alabama, to Atlanta, Atlanta to Amsterdam, Amsterdam to Krakow, Poland, and that's when I met the contact there. He introduced me to another contact, humanitarian contact, that took me across the border into Ukraine. From there, one of the members gave me a contact to the Foreign Legion, and I was thinking about whether to either to stay in the humanitarian option or go to the Foreign Legion. I decided Foreign Legion because I think that the humanitarian side wasn't doing enough, like helping. I ended up joining the Legion for a couple of days. I left the Legion because of the sheer incompetence of the command, lack of supplies, lack of training. I ended up going to the Foreign Legion in ZAROBLJENI, and we met up with the bulk of the Foreign Legion there. Eventually we went, the group I was with the Foreign Legion went to Rovny. From Rovny we were there for about 2 weeks or so, just training. But again, I left because due to the sheer incompetence of the group and the lack of supplies and support from higher command. From June 6th, we headed to Kharkov by train. When we were there, we arrived in the morning of June 7th, and the group that he got into contact with was a part of, I believe, the SBU, from what Pip told me, under Intelligence Battalion, and the group that we're specifically going into is a foreigner group called Task Force Baguette, in homage to like most of the French people that were in there, because that group was majority French people. There were a couple Americans, and the group is ran by a Ukrainian officer named Andre. That's the only name I know him by. This group mostly ran with fake names.
3 times a day, mission change.
2 times.
Two times.
In the morning.
It was strange, no?
It was, and
You were scared.
yes.
So what was next?
So when it changed again for like the second time or third time at that point, Jesse, one of the leaders, told us to me and Bama because I had a CZ-807, 7 magazines, and a grenade. Bama had the same loadout. The only difference was I was carrying the RPG because Boxer gave it to me, another leader. Bama was carrying 2 rockets and I was carrying 1 rocket. Jesse told us to post up in a like wooded area to make sure to cover the Ukrainians' retreat. After that, I did not see them anymore. No less than like about 5 to 10 minutes later, I hear a tank engine coming closer and closer, and I hear it shooting at berms. The first time it shot, it sounded like really close. Then it shot a second time at a berm I was looking at. When the berm exploded, I thought the tank was shooting at me, so I shot at that berm, or the explosion area, and I hit the berm. I understand that I can be sentenced to death.
In the early parts of this year, I was watching the news and seeing the portrayal of what was happening in Ukraine. It looked like the people needed help because they were fleeing their homes to other countries. I made the decision to go to Ukraine, see if that was the actual situation, and see if I could help and how I could help, up to and including fighting if needed. So we spent the next several weeks kind of in Kyiv and Odessa for the most part, being tourists and trying to make some kind of connection and find a home. We were contacted by a few units, mainly down in the Odessa Mykolaiv area, that said that they wanted us to be trainers for them. Some of them were territorial defense, some were national police, and some were other foreigners who had training programs. Our problem there was that none of them were government sanctioned, and we wouldn't have contracts, we wouldn't have any kind of official paperwork saying we could stay in the country.
And the Friday before, they had the death penalty. Death penalty.
Yes, I did not know the names, but that has been
You
told.
heard about it?
That's been told to me while I was here.
Do you know that you, in your position now, can repeat there?
I'm aware that's a possibility, yes. In Iraq, I was with the U.S. Army. We generally have everything we need supply-wise, food, munitions, weapons. We receive a large degree of training, and we have a very good rank and command structure so that orders go up and down very, very easily. I'd say we're an efficient and effective fighting force as the U.S. military. What I witnessed in Ukraine was certainly not the same thing. They seem to be short on quite a few supplies, short on munitions, and very disorganized. Without being asked that during the last interview, one of the things I said was many of my fellow veterans like me who were thinking about coming don't. I don't know why the West's focus is just sending weapons, money. I think it's so that they don't necessarily have to deal with the problem. There is a diplomatic solution to this problem somewhere, but it's going to take some time to get there, and I just think that at this time, they're not willing to deal with it, so they'd rather just give a bunch of stuff to Ukraine and let it be Ukraine's problem. My name is Alexander Druki. I am against war. Я против войны. Mom, I just want to let you know that I'm alive, and I hope to be back home as soon as I can be. So love Diesel for me. Love you. I had not thought of it that way, but yes, I understand that is a possibility. Yes.
Can you confirm that NATO missiles and NATO weapons were distributed to Ukraine recently, let's say recent few weeks?
I can confirm I've seen lots of news stories saying that they were being sent. I don't know what was actually sent and what actually arrived, but yes, the narrative is that weapons are being supplied, yes.
You didn't witness that first-handedly, right?
No.
Ну, он сказал, что да, он хотел бы сказать журналистами, конечно, и американскому правительству, что надо говорить правду. Он знает, что американские СМИ очень часто не говорит правду, не говорит целую правду. Он думает, что это нужно изменить.
Got the chance, just like it's not what it seems. What the media is pushing out. Everyone's painting the Ukrainian military as like brave. Sure, there may be a couple of brave men here and there, but generally the command is not the brave one. They're sacrificing troops. From a couple of prisoners I talked to when I was not initially captured, but when I was sent to a prison camp, I guess they were talking about how their command left them behind, and I've been noticing that more and more, like again through my travels, that the command doesn't care about the general rank and file, just leaving them behind, having no gear, no training, and the media doesn't show that or tell that, and I would like them to at least show that, tell that, like be honest at least, and I know that they probably won't.
Ну, говорит, что он верил в пропаганде, конечно, что украинская армия совсем профессиональная, отважная, но на самом деле, да, там несколько отважных человек, конечно, какие-то суда, но в принципе они очень Это плохо, это их офицеры, конечно, их командиры очень плохие. Как сказать, давали их, оставили, бросили их, да.
Бросили, нет поддержки и так далее, командиры обманывают.
Он сказал американским журналистам, что надо говорить.
Не надо верить пропаганде, потому что нарисовано все различными плохими красками.
We were in the Kharkiv area. I was in this unit for 1 day. I believe the unit designation falls under the SBU, under a intelligence battalion, and the task force is called Task Force Baguette, homage to most of the French foreigners that were in there. We were in, I don't know the location, but we were in the like a forest Kharkiv area. We engaged in combat with Russian troops. The Ukrainians were retreating, and we were asked to cover their retreat. When we were covering them, the Russian forces overran our position. We had to like fully retreat, and when one of my colleagues and I waited about 3 hours in a fighting hole just to make sure the coast is clear. After those 3 hours, we ended up walking through the woods for about 5 hours. We eventually got onto a road when we surrendered to Russian forces.